dependent upon something which is dependent, then we're going to have a regressive chain of dependent entities. So if I say the universe is dependent upon something which is dependent upon something which is dependent, and I keep going back dependently, regressively backwards, then it will be a regress of dependent entities.
Right. Shall I get an example?
Which means that there has to be one independent to allow all of the dependents to exist.
You made the point that Jesus had a God.
Isn't that right?
You made the point of all.
You get it? All right. Now, so do you accept the idea that there could be an independent entity which allows dependent entities to exist?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Excellent. Does that make the most sense to you right now of all the explanations that could be there?
No.
Okay, so tell me something which makes more sense to what I'm saying.
More sense. Yeah, it has to make more sense. The way I look at the universe is very mysterious, but the way I look at it is the universe had a beginning, the Big Bang.
Fine. You believe the universe had a beginning?
There's theories behind that, and I'm open to all that.
I'm happy. That's fine.
Some say that the universe didn't even begin then; it just minimized.
Well, you believe the universe began. That's fine. I think you're right. I agree with you. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. So the more you go on to things.
You're done with this, you don't need it, do you?
Yes, that's
what happened there?
So at the end, there must be some sort of end where it comes all together. So
that's right.
So the universe is expanding and it's going to come back down. It's almost like a spark and a flash of a light.
Keep on recording until I say.
Like this. Like that. That's the way I look at the universe.
No, but do you say that the universe
It starts off and then it gets bigger.
Do you say that the universe had a beginning? Yeah? Had a beginning. You just said that.
It's almost like
Hold on. Just keep on recording until I say.
What are you? No, but do you say that the universe had a?
starts off and then it gets bigger.
Do you say that the universe had a beginning? Yeah. It had a beginning. You just said that.
I say it had a point where
it began. Okay. Okay. Fine. No problem. Would you agree that everything that begins to exist has a cause?
You're not coming with us? No.
So give me an example of something that begins to exist with no cause.
All right.
With no cause.
Yeah.
Dark matter.
Sorry?
Dark matter. Okay, so you're saying.
See you next week.
Hold on. Dark matter is a direct consequence of the Big Bang. So the cause of dark matter is the Big Bang. If the Big Bang did not happen.
Yeah, but everything's the cause of the Big Bang.
No, everything in the universe. Fine.
Yeah.
But so therefore, according to your logic, if you're saying dark matter, then dark matter.
Purpose is it caused though?
No, forget purpose is a different question. But my point was nothing to do with purpose. I just said everything that you said the universe began to exist. I'm saying everything that begins to exist has a cause. Do you agree with this? Fine.
No, I don't.
You don't agree. So okay, can you give me something which doesn't have a cause and it began to exist?
Cause and what began to exist are two different things. Cause is what is it? What is it coming towards? What is why?
Cause is defined in the dictionary as something which brings rise to phenomena.
Okay.
So, I'm saying, do you know anything which has been has been given rise to, which doesn't have a cause?
By nothing.
Yeah, which is causeless.
Anything that's causeless.
Can something come from nothing, basically?
Can something come from
Is
nothing?
there anything that you can tell us that came from nothing?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't give you an example of something.
Fine. So, your experiential, subjective, or otherwise observational life story would give us the indication that everything you've witnessed in your life that has ever been caused into effect has a cause.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'm saying that the same applies to the universe. Do you agree with that? Fine. So everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe had a cause.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
All right, fine. What's this cause?
What's the cause?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
So let's use deductive inference. Yeah. Let's use inference now to identify what the cause is.
Best possible explanation.
Yeah. So what is the best possible explanation for this cause?
Depending on what the cause is.
Do you agree that the laws of physics? Let me ask you a question. What's your name again?
Ryan.
Ryan. Mohammed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I want to try something with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Hope it's not physical.
The laws of physics. Do you agree that there is something called the laws of physics?
Yeah, sure. And I know there's probably some things out there that are unexplainable that exists outside the laws of physics as well.
Is this universe ordered with the laws of physics?
Is it ordered?
Yes, with the laws of physics.
Is it ordered as in, as the laws of physics said you've got to exist?
No. Do we have laws of physics in this universe?
Yeah, the one, yeah.
Yeah, and what do the laws of physics show us about the universe?
It shows how it works and why.
Does it show it's ordered or non-ordered?
Ordered or non-ordered?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like is there a system or is there no system?
It's a lot of it is random.
Okay, you believe in randomness?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to do something, my friend. What's your name?
Ryan.
Sorry,
Ryan.
Ryan or Brian?
Ryan?
Okay.
You are
Mohammed, yeah. Listen to me, Ryan. Ryan, sorry. I'm going to say something today, and I want you to remember this. Randomness does not exist.
That's a big claim.
It's a big claim.
Yeah.
Randomness, philosophically, I mean, I would actually say this. The majority of philosophies in the world, in fact, there's very few things that philosophers agree on, upon. And what I'm saying now is one of those things. There's very few things that philosophers actually agree upon. And this is one of those things. Really, the truth is this. Everything is determined. Everything is determined. Okay. Now I want you to imagine. We're playing pool, me and you. We have, what do you call it? What's it? The cube.
And the pools.
I do.
And the pool table.
What do you call it?
The pool cubes? Cubes?
Yeah. I don't really play pool. Okay.
You got my number?
He'll come.
Call me, say, 15 minutes probably.
Yeah, you'll be there 10 minutes.
Alright, cool. In a bit. Thank you.
You know that if you want to marry a Muslim woman, you have to be Muslim. I don't want to say that in front of anyone, but you know what I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah, of course I know what I'm talking about.
So, anyways.
We can do the nikah. Like,
We can do the
marriage
nikah.
contract.
We can do it. We can.
Maybe not.
No, I'm not saying anyone particular. I'm just saying that generally, we can help you with that. If you can, I mean, that's not for the rest of the people. I'm not going to do
Mohammed,
nikah.
hijab nikah services.
Nikah services. It just takes minutes, you know. Just get two. We'll get 2 witnesses. We'll get 2 witnesses.
Let's find Allah first. Yeah, inshallah.
No, we'll get 2 witnesses and we'll
For the
get
brother.
everything and the mahar and no problem. And obviously the wali. Anyways, what I was going to say to you is this. What's that thing called?
The queue.
Is it
queue?
Yeah, all right. I don't play pool, man. I don't know.
No, it's okay.
Now, someone might think if I were to play pool like this, and I get the white ball and I knock all the other balls with it, then that's a random thing.
Sure.
No philosopher would agree that that's random.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I want you to remember this, yeah? Everything in this world is a result of 2 things, genetics and environment. Your conversation with me here today is not a random conversation. It is necessarily a product of genetics and environment.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You get it?
100%.
Everything is determined. No, everything, this is a philosophical consensus.
Are you saying everything has an order? So to
Yeah.
claim it's random, it's not because there's order
Right.
working.
So,
I tell you what, I totally agree with you 100% when you're looking at the scale of the planet and the earth that we live in. When you start scaling it up,
even the universe.
that's for me where I start
No, that's fine. That's cool. But what I'm saying, the laws of physics, the fact that they're ordered in that that way,
we have
laws of physics. We say that is a non-random. It cannot be a random thing.
madness.
I can't remember who said this, but science and physics, generally speaking, is just one thing, really.
Yeah,
It's
they go hand in hand.
it is physics is a part of science, right? So physics is the study of patterns and regularities in nature. I'm saying that would suggest that the universe here is regulated and has patterns. Question is, why do the laws of physics exist? Who put those laws into place?
Well, why does somebody else to put?
What put those laws into place? I'm asking you. We've established that randomness does not exist.
You've established that.
Right, no, we know that.
I mean, I don't know that because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff as you branch out into the universe. The further you go out, the more inexplainable it gets. When you're
But
down to
the laws of physics, right?
When you're down to the earth, totally 100%. That's the laws, that's the grounds that we live in, the reality we live in.
Okay.
But the more you branch out, the harder it is for you to say, oh, that it doesn't have, because at the end of the day, in the universe, you've got hundreds, or probably thousands, millions of random events going on. Planets colliding into each other, just a bunch of stuff. Some of those will form into planets that will have life, some of them won't.
Okay, I'm not making an argument that says that planets have to have life or something in the universe.
You could say like.
I'm just saying that the laws of physics are we can conceive them and understand them
science,
without venturing out to the universe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just using the laws of physics,
you could
right?
do deductive reasoning and say, by all means, what happens out here must happen out there.
Okay, I'm not saying anything in this world, this earth.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So here,
Yeah, sure.
we said that the universe has a cause. Before that, we said the universe is dependent on something. We said that everything that changes is dependent. That the universe changes, therefore is dependent. So we've got two questions to ask. What caused the universe, and what is the universe dependent upon? And the answer is the same. You see what I mean? What caused the universe, and what is the universe dependent upon? And the answer is the same. I would say to you that whatever caused the universe is what the universe is dependent upon, and whatever the universe is dependent upon is what caused the universe. And we already established that one of the things that the universe is dependent upon is something which must be independent. Because if we say it's dependent upon something which is dependent, there will be a regressive chain of dependent things. So you have to have one independent entity. The same thing applies with saying that the universe has a cause. If you say that the cause had a cause, you'd have a regressive chain called the infinite regression. Now that infinite regression has to have one start, right? Something which started everything up. Right. My question now is that what are the necessary characteristics of that entity that started everything up? I'm saying to you that when we look at the laws of physics, the fact that the universe is ordered, regulated, it has systems, right? That should and everything is determined. That should indicate to us that the independent entity that started the universe, or the ultimate cause of the universe, is in fact an intelligent cause. Would you agree with that? Does that make sense?
I'd say yes. I'd say if there is an entity that's controlling everything, that there would be intelligent. Yeah, sure, they'd have to be. Yeah, sure.
You do it, right?
Yeah.
Especially if we can see that the laws of physics are so precise, right? So moving forward, I would say that if that's the case, it would also have to have power, because it would have to change the situation from non-being to being, right? It would have to have ability to change a non-entity into an entity. That the universe began to exist is an evidence of this. That the universe is dependent upon something is another evidence of this. Right? So whatever the universe is dependent upon must be something which is, in effect, really, able to power the universe, able to allow the universe to be dependent upon it. So here, the universe is dependent upon an independent entity which is allowing the maintenance of the universe. Which brings us to another thing. That this thing must be maintaining and sustaining the universe. This thing must be indivisible. It cannot be more than one. Because if this thing was more than one, first and foremost, there would be chaos. If you say, for example, that
how could you know that though?
Let me tell you. If I say that there were two things which were all powerful, two independent things that were all powerful, then either those two things are two names for one thing, or those two things, one of those two things would have to be powerful over the other thing. Because you can't have two all-powerful entities. It's impossible. You have to have only one all-powerful entity.
Why?
Because by physical necessity, the word all-powerful means that it's powerful than anything else.
Can't they act like a yin and yang?
If that did happen, for example, if we said entity 1 was control of the leaves of the tree, and entity 2 was in control of the roots of the tree, then there is a potential for conflict. Conflict, in the context of the laws of physics, the fact that we see that there is no conflict in the universe, in that sense, that there is a structured law, would indicate to us that it cannot be like that, right? And by the way, even the ancient Greeks, Democritus, interestingly, he was talking about the division of the atom. I think he was the first person to actually mention atom. And he said that he was talking about the beginning of the universe must be indivisible. Whatever started the universe must be indivisible. Because, and this goes back to kind of Occam's razor. Occam's razor is another philosophical precept that says that you need to simplify something to the lowest common multiple. And the lowest common multiple in this case is 1. 1 is the only necessary number, the only necessary entity to start this chain reaction. We only need one prime mover. We only need one thing that pushes the dominoes. We don't need two. And even if we did need to, even if there could be two, they wouldn't be able to coexist because of the clashes that they would be going into, conflict. Do you get it? So, we've established that this entity is 1, it's got intelligence, it's got power, it's got ability.
But you can argue that anything with intelligence can come around the laws of nature. You say something exists and at the same power, they have to sort of have some sort of conflict, right? Because they're at the same power. And if one is above the other, then they can kind of control and mediate.
If one is above the other, then it could just subordinate the other thing.
Yeah, sure.
So it wouldn't need to.
But
it wouldn't need to have it there at the same
if
level.
If they had intelligence and then they worked amongst themselves, couldn't they just get rid of that whole conflict? I mean, us as human beings, we have a
the presupposition here, right? So you've got two things. You've got intelligence, and you've also got power.
Yeah.
So when you have power, when you come to democratically, hold on. Let me
not
tell you.
just normal
right.
power.
So think about this.
This is like power to create and to demolish.
So think of it this way.
We can't fathom what they would feel, a cosmic level would feel, and they could talk to their other yin-yang side.
I get you, but I get your point. But let me tell you what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, if you had power,
just like me and you, they could be conflict, but we're intelligent enough to say.
I get what you're saying.
To the side
But
and
let me tell you the contradiction. The contradiction, if we're both intelligent, right? If we're both all intelligent, first and foremost, we wouldn't need each other.
Sure.
Do you know what the difference is? The difference is this. If me and you are intelligent, we need each other because we know two minds are better than one. But if we're both all intelligent, we don't even need each other.
So you're saying there's the thing that's behind all the universe has either got to be 2,
it's got to be one.
But if it is 2, it has to be 1 is above the other.
Yeah, and if one is above the other, then it's actually only one thing which is subordinating all the other things.
Okay, sure.
You get it? Yeah. So exactly right. So I think you're right. So here, I would say to you this. If that is all the case, the intelligent design thesis, which is that there's some entity that began the universe, does that sound more reasonable than that there is no inference that we can make from the beginning of the universe, except that the universe came from us?
I say it's very plausible.
Okay, fine. Would you say it makes more sense? Let's be honest. You've got two options. Either you say that happened.
Yeah, I agree. It makes more sense. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that I could put more sense to it. But at the end of the day.
No, but look, we are people of inference, right? Human beings are inference makers. We make inference on a daily basis, and an inference is defined as a conclusion that we make based on the evidences. So here we've looked at the deductive evidences, we looked at all the arguments, and we've seen that actually the conclusion that we can reasonably make based on the evidence is that there was some kind of entity, transcends the case of the universe, and who is controlling the universe in some way, maintaining it, started it, has the intelligence to put the laws of physics into place and all the other laws into place, and who is one. So if that is the case, my question is about purpose. So you, Ryan, what's the purpose of life then? Why did this entity put you on this planet, this placement on this earth and this universe?
You could never possibly answer that question. What if it just wanted me to exist and experience the beauty of what reality is that is made for us? Or you could say that it actually has requirements. It wants.
How do you know you can't answer that question?
How do I know I can't answer that question?
Because the only thing you're sure. Do you know what's really ironic? I'll be honest with you, Ryan.
Go ahead, mate. Shoot.
The only thing you're sure about is the only thing you're certain about is that you're uncertain.
Yeah, sure.
So,
and I like that.
Hold on.
I do. I like that, being able to.
I don't think you do like that.
Yeah, do you think I do?
No, trust me, you don't like it. No one likes that.
I think uncertainty is a curious thing because it opens more doors and more conclusive. If I say that I know it all, it takes away from the mystery. It takes away from the joy of life.
I like that humbleness, though. What I was going to say is you can't be certain that you're uncertain. You can't be certain with an uncertainty. You can only be uncertain with an uncertainty. Now, if you want to say to me, you can never know that, Okay, that would suggest that you've seen all the answers and you've made the decision. I'm saying to you that is.
You're right. I worded that badly.
Okay.
There is a possibility I could one day know.
Fine.
Yeah.
My question is there a fixed purpose? Because everyone can say, I can say, look, ontologically, you can make your own subjective purpose. I can make my own subjective purpose. He can make his own subjective purpose. We can all make our own subjective purposes. Meaning, we can make our own meaning. You ask someone, what's your purpose of life? He says, to become a millionaire. You ask someone else, he says, become a serial killer or something. Whatever, you know, it can range, right? The point is this, I'm not asking about subjective purpose. My question is now, objective purpose. Do you feel that this entity that ordered the universe would, could, had, should, ought to have assigned an objective purpose for human beings? When I say an objective purpose, a purpose which is free from subjective bias.
If you're talking about something as simply as living life to the fullest, then...
Well, that's a liberal idea, that's not a problem. But what I'm saying is that...
Define a purpose then, because then I'll be able to say...
A purpose is a reason.
I know what purpose I mean.
Right.
Well, what reason? If you're saying that this purpose is like, oh, I have to lead a good life, be a good person.
I'm not saying this, I'm just saying, look...
Just purpose in general.
I'm saying from this teleological perspective, right? Things which exist in the context, listen to this carefully, things which exist in the context of a predetermined universe with ordered laws of physics which are structured and regulated exist for a purpose. That's my thing. Which include me and you. One more time. Things which exist in the context of a predetermined universe with rules and regulations which put it into which govern it exists for a purpose. Therefore, since we are within that, the universe, the human, also has a purpose. What is the purpose?
The purpose is to procreate, and I'd say that's it. That's it. Procreate and survive.
Why?
Because that's.
I'll see you later. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
We're going to eat afterwards. If you want.
No, we're not that. We're going to go munch as well.
Okay. Ask them lot. Yeah.
Because I can see that within the animal kingdom. I can see.
So why should we have continuation?
Continuation.
Yeah.
Why?
Why should we have continuation of the human species if we're such a void species of any objective purpose? Why should there be continuation?
There doesn't need to be.
It doesn't. So you've made that. Well, exactly. Why can't we just be like the dinosaurs? Don't you think that we're different from dinosaurs?
I think we're more intelligent.
There's more to it than that. Do you know what the difference between us and the dinosaurs is?
Okay, go on, round it off for me.
The difference is we can ask why, and the dinosaur can't ask why.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah,
We can think about purpose, whereas the dinosaur, the T-Rex, can't think about purpose.
Yeah, you can't think why do I exist.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is this. What I'm saying to you is simple, straightforward, easy, digestible, reasonable, concludable. The purpose of human being is to do what everything else in the universe is doing. Wait a minute, what did you say? Okay, no, I'll tell you again. Okay. Since everything in the universe is predetermined, there must be something which predetermined the universe. We would say that thing that predetermined the rules and regulations of the universe is the entity which created the universe, the creator. We have to also be in compliance with the rules and regulations of the creator.
Sure.
Do you see how that works? How will we know the rules and the regulations of the creator? We, epistemologically, in order for us to understand something, have to be taught it. So our worldview is that literally there was an intermediary, which we call angels, colloquially, and obviously this kind of thing is to secular ears. I understand when you hear angels, this stuff is all like, you know, fairy tale. Forget about this. I'm going to leave now. Go back to, you know, whatever. But no, don't think like that. Angels are intermediaries, or subordinates of God, right? So which God uses, which we believe, because this entity is God, right? That we've just described. He uses them to allow for communication between him and them. He uses them for other reasons as well. So we say that human beings came aforetime, like Abraham and Moses and Jesus, and all of these human beings came and they had that communication from that entity. Okay, so the entity came, told them to believe in the one God and to worship one God. Worship is submission to the rules and regulations of God. They had been told the rules and regulations of God through this, what we call revelation, and then they would tell that to their people, and we say that that ended with Muhammad, who we believe is the final prophet. Each of the prophets came with two things. They came with those rules and regulations, and they also came with evidence to prove their prophethood. Some of the evidences that they've come with would range. So depending on the time and the place, we would say some of the evidences of the Quran is that the Quran is inimitable, it can't be replicated, is that it's preserved, it's the only preserved religious document, religious text, is the only preserved one of all of the religious texts, is that it has no contradiction in it. And that's one of the challenges of the Quran. And also that no one is capable of producing, and we've said this before with inimitability challenge, anything like the Quran. In addition to that, there are other things like predictions it makes of the future. I mean, the Prophet practically predicted, I would say the majority of countries that are Muslim now, he predicted that they would be Muslim.
Okay.
Right? So these predictions and this kind of system of falsification that the Quran has created for itself, we would say acts as an evidence to show that in fact it is the creator that created the universe, that is in fact in communication with human being, and who wants a human being to believe in him as a result of these evidences. So, does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, so
I can understand that.
So, would you like to become Muslim?
That's what it was leading up to.
Because that's what a Muslim is. A Muslim is someone who submits their will to God.
Sure. But at the end of the day, I told you at the beginning of the argument, I liked the whole mysterious of not knowing.
There's also things we don't know. Yeah.
I would hate to bind myself to one, because at the end of the day, you've got a Christian over there, you've got other.
I was just like through. I found my answers. I just had to look. And I looked.
But there's also a lot of answers in other religious.
It contradicts itself. There's no proof and there's no evidence. The Quran, Islam,
But wouldn't they argue that against the Quran as well?
But trust me, I was the most. I wasn't even accept being called atheist. I didn't want a label. That's how extreme I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I allowed myself to look into a religion, when I saw that it's answering my when I saw that it's answering my unanswered questions, I was like, wow. I was like, it's been here. I'm 21 years old. I was like, it's been here my whole life. It's been in front of me my whole life. Why didn't I just look into it? You know why? I'd watch like things like the media. I've never been for the media anyway. I'm that guy that looked into conspiracy theories, the universe, this, that. And then you know what? When I saw that Islam has my answers, I was like, I never had a reason not to believe, and it made sense to me.
And I appreciate it, but I've actually looked into other religions as well. I haven't specifically gone to Islam in too deep. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and we talk about it. But I have gone to Christian church. I've gone to other places, and I do look. I see what the opinion is, because I am interested.
What question do you have? What unanswered questions do you have? What's one of your unanswered questions?
I have so many. Honestly, there is so many. You couldn't even.
Not even 3 weeks ago, about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I had tons.
But I think if those questions were answered, my life would have to go into a specific direction.
Let me tell you what.
Because I would have the answer. It would go into
let me tell you something now. You don't believe in nothing, yeah? Okay, basically.
I like it open-ended. So it's not like I don't think nothing is out there.
True, but
I like to think that something could be out there.
Yeah, that's
right?
I've
Something
seen that you
also
are
could not
open-minded,
be.
man. I've seen that. I really like that.
Something
Yeah,
could also
Believing in nothing means you don't believe in yourself. Hence why you have no reason to live.
Yeah,
Hence
and that is why a lot of atheists and a lot of other people go into heavy depression, and that is also why a lot of people, when they're looking and they're almost, they're near death, they're going through a near death experience, they also look to a religion because it gives them the answers, to give them purpose and well-being. I really do appreciate it. I really do understand it. Like I said, I've been to other religions as well. I think we are all unique in the way that we think.
I've bounced from, I looked into Buddhism, I've looked into Christianity, I looked into what the Hindus believe in. Do you know what I mean? Like Ganesh.
I've gone even further back than that. You've got Greek mythology, you've got Roman mythology, and it's all fascinating to me, and Islam is one of those things that I would look into even more. And
I'll give you my number, man.
Sure, but I like the way that you've come about the way you've understanding. You haven't gone into it in a blind.
And Aiden, and you know what, brother? Because I'm open-minded, and then I was like, I had this ideology that everyone who's Muslim, I was like, they're closed-minded. However, when I listened to brothers like Muhammad and I saw how he talks about the universe, I was like, wow, that's my understanding. I was like, this guy thinks the same of me and the universe.
Yeah, sure.
And then when he started, when he combined religion with the ideologies of the universe, it started making sense to me, which gave me the motivation to look into Islam. And then when I looked into Islam, it made sense to me. And you know what made me, like brother Muhammad was saying, what made me accept and believe it was the fact that you can't write a verse like it, and till to this day, it's impossible. For me, that is one thing. That's the only thing. That's enough, because they say nothing is impossible. That's impossible. Do you get what I'm coming?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
So that was like one. And then stuff like Christianity, like Prophet Muhammad, the chain of narration, from him it lead into, from there to there. You Google it, you see it. That was like two. Wow. I was living. I don't want to talk about it. I wasn't living a good life. Now when I looked into Islam, it teaches us how to. It goes in depth to how we wash our hands, how to. After we do our number two, how to clean that. It even goes into fine details, sorry for saying, but how to pleasure our women. Well, I was like, wow. I was like, this is a way of life. I was like, this is so beautiful. I was like, why have I not looked into this before? I was like, I wish I looked into it years ago.
Yeah, sure.
But you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason, that's right. Man.
And do you know what I mean? And once...
When he said I had to pleasure women, you started smiling, huh?
Yeah.
Brother, I'm telling
I like
you.
that saying.
Brother, I'm telling you. You know what? It's just...
Why are you telling me? Go to hard.
You were boxing yourself?
You know I just record stuff.
Kickboxing, yeah, man. I was a mixed martial artist. I'm looking to get back into it next year.
Yeah.
Last time I fought was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Had the injury, semi-professional. Where do you train?
Fight Zone in Bethnal
Fight
Green.
Zone. Yeah. Bethnal Green. Also, is Jeremy Petley your coach? Jeremy Petley.
No. It's a Muay Thai coach. So
Muay Thai coach.
Jose Varela.
Jose Varela, yeah.
Listen,
The short guy.
you've got my number. If you need anything, let me know. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been good, man. Maybe we'll do some training one day, man.
It'll have to be off.
I'm
Thank you for the talk.
Yeah, I'm from Time Fire.
Time.